My name is Sienna Brennan. I'm 32 years old, and for most of my life, I believe that being a good daughter meant staying silent, saying yes, and letting my family decide what was best for me, even when their decisions slowly destroyed my future. And I didn't realize how deep that control went until the day I opened my mailbox and found a foreclosure warning addressed to me for a house I had never agreed to buy, a mortgage I had never signed, and a debt that was never mine. Yet my name was printed on every page like I had personally begged the bank to chain my life to my sister Melody's dream home. And when I confronted my parents, they didn't deny it, they didn't apologize, they didn't even look ashamed. Instead, my mother sighed like I was a child complaining about chores and said, "You're single, you make good money, you don't need perfect credit right now." While my father said I should be grateful they trusted me enough to help the family. And Melody stood behind them crying and saying she would lose everything if I didn't cooperate. And in that moment, I felt the weight of my entire childhood press down on me. Every time I was told to sacrifice, every time Melody's needs came first, every time I was told my dreams could wait. And I realized this wasn't about family or love, it was about control. And when I said no, when I told them I would not take responsibility for a loan I never agreed to, they sued me, their own daughter, accusing me of fraud and breach of agreement, trying to force me legally into a financial prison they had built in my name. And sitting in that courtroom months later, I felt small at first, like I was 12 again, waiting for permission to speak. But when the evidence was presented, when the handwriting expert explained how my signature was traced, when the notary admitted my father paid him to stamp documents I never saw, when the bank officer confessed he knew something was wrong but processed it anyway because my parents were longtime clients, I felt something inside me break open, a mixture of rage, grief, and relief. And when the judge asked if I wanted to speak, I stood up, hands shaking, heart pounding, and I told the truth, not just about the documents, but about the years of emotional manipulation, the pressure, the guilt, the constant message that my value existed only in how much I could give up for others. And the courtroom was silent as I said, I loved my family, but love without consent is not love, it's exploitation. And I said I deserved the right to choose my future, my finances, my life. And when I sat down, I felt lighter than I ever had, even though I knew I might lose them forever. And the judge ruled in my favor, referred the case to the district attorney, removed my name from the mortgage, ordered restitution, and for the first time in my life, the system believed me, validated me, protected me. And my parents looked at me like I was a stranger. Melody avoided my eyes, and when we walked out of that courthouse, they didn't hug me, they didn't speak to me, they just walked away. And in the months that followed, my father was charged with forgery and identity theft. The notary lost his license, the loan officer was fired, the house was sold, Melody moved into a smaller apartment, and my credit was restored. But my family erased me from their lives. No calls, no holidays, no apologies, just silence. And that silence was painful, but also honest, because for the first time, I wasn't pretending everything was fine. I wasn't swallowing resentment. I wasn't sacrificing myself for people who saw me as a resource instead of a person. And one night, my grandfather called me and said he was proud of me, that sometimes doing the right thing costs you the people who benefit from your silence, and sometimes losing them is the price of finally finding yourself. And when he passed away months later, I cried not just for him, but for the family I wished I had. And slowly, I rebuilt my life, focusing on my career, my friendships, my own goals, and I learned that boundaries are not cruelty, that saying no is not betrayal, that being a good daughter does not mean being a disposable one. And I stopped feeling guilty for choosing myself because no one else was going to. And today, when I look back at that courtroom, that moment I stood up and spoke, I realize it was the first time I truly became an adult in my family, not because of age or success, but because I refused to be controlled. And I share this story because I know there are others who are being pressured, manipulated, financially or emotionally trapped by the people who are supposed to love them. And I want them to know they are not selfish, they are not ungrateful, and they are not wrong for protecting their future. Because love should never require you to destroy yourself. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up, tell the truth, and walk away, even when walking away means walking alone.